Okay, we have a snow day today, so I will teach this class from home, and I hope everybody will have a little more relaxing time enjoying the class. So we are now getting into chapter 2, Nelson chapter 2, our textbook, chapter 2, and we'll be covering about 10 pages today. And the chapter is entitled as Understanding Computer Investigations, and in the beginning of this chapter we talk about how to prepare a computer investigation and how to actually do the investigation in a systematic way. So let's take a look. So we already talked about typical steps a computer forensics investigator takes, but as a brush up on what we have already talked about, I have this slide showing the steps. So always initially gathering evidence comes first. So the very first step is gathering evidence before even you start your investigation, and whatever evidence available to you, based on that an investigator determines whether a crime has been committed or somebody has violated a company policy. So if it's involving a crime, basically it's becoming a criminal case, and if it's involving a company policy violation, it's going to be a private investigation or corporate investigation. And once you have enough evidence to support further investigation, that's when you actually prepare a case, whether it's a legal case in court or whether it is an inquiry for a company. You prepare a case by collecting more evidence, but you don't just do it based on an accepted procedure. So a majority of our lecture today covers how to do this investigation, especially when you're preparing a case by collecting more evidence. How do you do that in a systematic way? So when you're collecting evidence, you can do that by investigating the suspect's computer. I mean, you have to, I guess, first of all confiscate the computer, and then once you lift the evidence out of the computer, you then move that evidence to another computer where you're conducting your investigation. So I think we talked about doing the imaging, and imaging here means simply copying whatever is on a suspect's hard drive and then turn it into a file called an image, and then you investigate the image on another computer. And then once you have the image, then I think the most important thing is you don't really damage that image. So make sure you preserve whatever you already have collected in terms of evidence. And one of the ways to show that the evidence hasn't been damaged or altered while under investigation is by actually doing this chain of custody forms. And the chain of custody forms basically shows from the very beginning, when you first got the evidence, all the way to the time when you submit the evidence to the court or until the case is closed, the route the evidence is taking. I mean, who's dealing with the evidence from whom to whom the evidence has been moving, who was in charge of taking care of the evidence, who was in charge of holding on to the evidence. It shows pretty much how the evidence was handled from the very beginning to the end of the case, or until the case goes to the court.